it was always my goal to go to India to become a teacher. I could be traveling the world teaching yoga. Before traveling, I was thinking like, oh, this trip is gonna change my life. I'm gonna be a whole different person. But no, and that's the beauty of it. Like to find out that you were already by realizing how much I didn't need it to change. You don't really need to go to Thailand to become a monk to really have change. Like change starts somewhere else. I would try to listen to my heart. Like you already know where you're drawn to, like what things are calling you. It's never gonna be like a perfect time. So whenever you feel like a little whisper that this is your time, it is. Hi, my name is Gonzalo. I'm Mexican. I've been traveling for the last 10 months across Asia, New Zealand, and Europe. And now I'm here. Now I'm here in Busan for the last month. I knew from the beginning that I wanted this trip to be very wellness oriented. So I wanted to, like, it was always my goal to go to India to become a teacher. Because I really love yoga and I thought like, oh, I could be traveling the world teaching yoga, which is what I have been for the last months. I enrolled in India, so that was why I stayed for that long. I live in an ashram in Mumbai, Kansaji Yogendra ashram. I was so happy about it because it really helped me like deep dive into the culture. I was the only foreigner in my class, so I really felt part of the city. Everybody's so welcoming. And then is when I thought like, oh, I wanna do like go slower, spend time with people, build a community, understand what is happening. And about the monastery, I grew up Buddhist. So I think that was always in the back of my mind and I wanted to try it out. And when I went for the first time to Nepal and I was in the monasteries in the middle of the hills, just surrounded by the drums, the chanting, the incense, I thought like, oh, I should be doing this instead of spreadsheets. So I thought like, how can I spend more time with the monks? And I found a way in Thailand, and that's how I get there. I feel the most memorable moment is even before I became a monk. So I arrived and I started to do alms round, which is the moment in which you have a bowl, the monks have a bowl, and every day they go down the hill to ask for food. So the community hands food over, and there is one woman who always gives blessing to every visitor. So receiving that blessing was very, very moving. And in the middle of rural Thailand, like somewhere in the middle between Pai and Chiang Mai, and that day we saw elephants, which is considered to be very auspicious. So that was a very, very nice moment. From the day to day, we woke up around 4:30, and then you get ready because dressing up as a monk takes time. Then we started chanting at 5, and that lasted like an hour. We finished with meditation, and by 6:30, we go down to the village to ask for food. So we go with our bowls, people make offerings, and we give a blessing. Then we go together and have breakfast at 7:30, all together, because where I was, we're a monastery, but also a meditation center. So that is where also the meditators join us. And then you have free time, which is meant for you to meditate, to get some rest, to study Buddha's teaching. We saw each other again for the last meal of the day, which is at noon. And then again, more free time until 7 p.m., which is like when we do evening chanting. So the last chanting of the day, also meditation together. Some days you stay longer with the monks, enjoying the community, speaking about life and past lives. I feel that my life has changed by realizing how much I didn't need it to change. Like I feel I just realized how I already knew so many things, I already was doing so many things, that I tell that to everyone, like you don't really need to go to Thailand to become a monk to really have change. Like change starts somewhere else. Change starts in your living room. So by the time that I reached the monastery, I felt like I was already very monk-like. So that was also a nice thing to find out. You don't need to be in Thailand to feel that way. But I didn't know, and I wouldn't have known if I don't go to Thailand. I will be imagining like, oh, in in Thailand they do this super different thing. And here also in Korea, I spent time with the monks, and I was thinking like, oh, in Korea, there for sure is gonna be so different, and it is, but it's not that much. Like it's amazing to see the world with your own eyes, but then you realize that you didn't needed to travel that far, which is the beauty of it. I feel like every day I felt that way because I was surrounded by locals. I was the only foreigner in my class. I was so lucky that I chose to do the long program. And everyone was so welcoming. They were taking me to the temple, to their houses, eating together on the streets and on the ashram. So that was very, very nurturing. Getting to know their families, getting invited to their parties, to their rituals, their ceremonies. That was very, 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 very special. I feel we are very curious of new things everywhere. So I feel like that is why, as a foreigner, you feel very invited in most places in the world. Because people genuinely want to get to know you better. And you're there because you might also be wanting to know them better. So that is the best case scenario in which two people are open for new things and magic starts to happen. And I always ask myself when I'm traveling, like, how can I be more like a local? What are they doing? What they feel like? How they're behaving? I do my best to, even if I'm speaking in English, to do it in the Korean way. I don't know if that makes sense. So by deeply trying to understand, context is like when I'm in China or in Japan or in New Zealand, I really want to know how you say things. Why would you say that? I'm always thinking about this. I do feel I have changed, but I feel like my sense of calmness and contempt has grown. Like I feel way more happier with who I was already. Because before traveling, I was thinking like, oh, this trip is gonna change my life. I'm gonna be a whole different person. But no, and that's the beauty of it. Like to find out that you already had like all the qualities that you were looking for. So I feel like that has been the biggest realization of this trip. Whenever I go to a new place, I like to take time to take a deep dive to really understand the logistics of how it is, how the city moves, where people eat, what people eat, how do you say hello. Like that takes a lot of brain power and it's kind of exhausting. So, but as soon as you get through that, you already can have conversations with locals even if you don't speak the language. You have a hint of what it feels like to be here. And I feel like that is the most beautiful part of it. But it's exhausting. And I feel like 10 months into this trip, there are some days in which I feel overwhelmed. Like the load of information is too much because I don't like it to take it slow. I really want to take like deep dives. I want to do a lot of things. I want to experience the most that I can out of it. So that is physically and mentally demanding. But I would say that the way to overcome it is to take time, meditate, drink water, get some rest, do exercise, and then you're ready for the next day. In daily life too, but especially while traveling, it's so important to have moments of self-care. To look at yourself, check out with you, like, how am I feeling today? Am I ready for more? Am I ready to slow down? And just listen to yourself. I do believe in the right time. Like, the more you push it, it's maybe because it's not meant to happen. But when it's meant to happen, everything aligns and the roads open themselves. Like, I feel like when I was going to India, I already had gave up on that idea. Like, I'm not going to India this year. And then everything aligned because then you are called for what you're meant to do. But also what you're planning and deciding where you want to go and what you want to do next. I would try to listen to my heart. Like, you already know where you're drawn to, like what things are calling you. And the more you resist that calling, the burden is bigger and bigger. You just have to go. And even though I said like there is a perfect time and everything aligns, it's never gonna be like a perfect time. So whenever you feel like a little whisper that this is your time, it is. So you just have to go through it. you so much for joining us for this conversation. I hope that you will follow that whisper. And nos vemos en la próxima. Adiós.